A couple weeks ago, The Hollywood Reporter put out this list of the top 10 wrestlers turned actors, and honestly, I was scratching my head thinking, it's like, okay, outside of the guys who came in maybe for like a cup of coffee or the way that the Fed is so, intensely leaning on celebrity cameos now, it's very cringe, and it's doing so well for you in the ratings. The business has never been hotter. That's why 2 million people in the entire world are watching Raw on Netflix, and you can't even get a 1.5 on fucking SmackDown on Fridays. Business has never been more booming, right? But no. The guys who are like legitimate stars, the guys who had good runs in the business turning into actors, and well, I could come up with a few names off the top of my head, but going through the rest of this list, it's like, yeah, okay, Andre and the Princess Bride, I think that one's legendary. I kind of forgot that, Edge, he was in that Viking show, and I always thought that, he had some crossover potential. Like, he could do pretty... I've never been, and I still am not, a big Edge fan. I think he's super generic, and, his whole... all of that stuff was super cringe all the time. The rated R superstar stuff, I always thought that it was really try hard, but he can do just about everything. It doesn't click with me, but I could see it working, and it obviously did work with a lot of people. I think he came in at like number 4, but the top 3 really shouldn't surprise anybody, and the byline kind of gives it away that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is number 1 at the box office, but not on our list. And somebody we're going to talk about a little bit later this week, Cena, he comes in at number 3. And seeing that he is essentially cut from the exact same cloth that The Rock is, where right now he's just kind of playing more of himself, even more so than when he was, doing those WWE Studios movies, the Marine, and oh my God, what was the other one? God, there was a list one, right? 12 rounds, that's what it was, where it was just basically, oh yeah, look at that, that's, babyface John Cena is Super Cena gonna go, save the girl at the end of the day. But now he's just doing deadpan John Cena in everything. He did it in one comedy movie, and now he's doing it for, James Gunn over the DC, and it's like, ugh, God, all that shit sucks ass, and it's so funny, right? James Gunn wants to, I don't want to spoil too much for another video that's coming out later this week, but the way that James Gunn's like, oh my God, Peacemaker season 2, everybody loves it. Yeah, like 500,000 people in the entire world are watching it. Good stuff. That's the one product that contains a wrestler that's actually doing worse than the Fed right now. Fucking wild. But no, the number 1, okay, and something that I think probably has, The Rock's panties in a bit of a bunch, because, without going through the rest of the list, okay, you got Dwayne down there at number 2, but number 1, okay, somebody who I did like back when he was, had his first run as a Muscle for Evolution, and then breaking out and being a proper world champion. The stuff that he was doing right before Eddie Guerrero passed away with him, that was very good stuff, man. And I really did like Batista. And then when he, went back to Hollywood, people were saying, oh my God, he's so great. Yeah, being Dave Bautista in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and then just being, big screamy guy in every other role. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, he has such range. Who watched Stuber? Yeah, exactly. He's a fucking joke. I don't like him at all whatsoever. And one film that I was kind of looking forward to, and I've made a couple of videos on, is the Henry Cavill Highlander reboot, because that's one of the things, right? Like, if Hollywood's going to be stuck in this malaise of reboots and remakes and all that type of crap, Highlander as a concept, fantastic stuff. It's first time around, and I know a lot of people have a lot of nostalgic memories attached to that, but you could probably do a little bit better than Christopher Lambert, and you could also do, I would never, ever say that, Sean Connery is the wrong casting for a role, unless, of course, we're talking about Gandalf after all. But no, okay, if he's going to be coming in, with this heavy Scottish accent, and he's supposed to be a Spaniard, it's like, okay, cool, you got Sean Connery, but you couldn't have him do something a little bit more appropriate. So yeah, the idea of Highlander brought back with somebody like, Henry Cavill and a proper cast around him could be really good. But if you're going to be bringing in old fucking droopy ass Dave Bautista as Kurgan, I mean, bro, what the fuck are we doing? But hey, droopy old wrestlers, I mean, like, he's the best in the business, right? So I guess The Rock decided, you know what? That is probably the reason why Dave is looking so good, okay? He's looking so good to so many of those critics that are out there, not because he's this big muscle-bound freak anymore, okay? He's not out there looking ginormous in his 50s. He's losing a bunch of weight, and that is the secret to success, because apparently, what the fuck, man, that was the Rock's big takeaway from the success of Batista, because I take a look at that and it's like, obviously, okay, the picture of the Rock on the left, that is him. I think that was that was when he was doing home workouts in 2020, okay, when he was staying in condition for a lot of the other shit that was coming out and has come out in recent years as well. So okay, yeah, he was definitely in that was definitely TRT Rock and probably everything else that's out there. But what is it, the Venice Film Festival that went over Labor Day weekend? The Rock walks out in a Hawaiian shirt looking like 1997 Rocky Maivia. What the fuck happened out there? Now, okay, there's a couple of other videos, there's a couple of other pictures rather of him that are out there, and he's still, like, the Rock is still a big guy when it's all said and done, but he clearly I don't know, man, it's interesting when you watch this. It's like his body positioning and his posture, and he kind of knows. It's like, having to get off the gear and very much melting before everybody's eyes. It's like, yeah, I know I'm going to be eliciting some reactions for sure, but honestly, as somebody who has watched The Rock since, well, as long as I can remember, he was a part of the marquee match for the first wrestling event that I can remember watching. I've seen once before, but obviously WrestleMania 15, so he's looking somewhere in between. He was, Rock 1998, and when he came back the first time in 2003, Hollywood Rock the first time around, he doesn't look like terribly small, and like I said, he's still a massive guy, but now that he wants to be taken a little bit more seriously, because the long talked about Mark Kerr biopic, okay, The Smashing Machine, is finally coming out, okay, and that's what he was debuting down there at Venice. Emily Blunt was there. She's the wife in this movie, and apparently it's quite good. Smashing Machine debuts with 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, described as having a spectacular career best performance from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And yeah, apparently The Rock took that Hollywood Reporter list. He took it personally. He decided, I want to be taken seriously as an actor moving forward. I've already conquered the box office, but now I want to do more serious roles. And now he's doing all of this shit all together. Like, okay. So The Rock sobs over a 15-minute standing ovation for The Smashing Machine at the Venice Film Festival, sparking Oscar buzz. That is, well, and we know how, pay to play the Oscars are, especially with, God, what was that earlier this year, right? I'm pretty sure that was earlier this year. How it was revealed that basically all of the people that have been, over the entirety of the Oscars, most of the voters don't even watch the movies. And now The Rock, well, now he wants to become the first wrestler turned actor to win an Oscar, because Batista is always credited as being the best. Well, now The Rock can go ahead, and now he can stake his claim to that accolade by being the first. So Dwayne was brought to tears on Monday night after his newest movie, The Smashing Machine, received a 15-minute standing ovation and sparked Oscar buzz following its premiere at the 82nd Venice Film Festival. And yeah, you got a couple of these other pictures, like he's still looking big. Now, maybe it's a padded suit, but I'm just going to say, it's like, yeah, he probably got off the gas, because even what was that, back in February at Elimination Chamber when John Cena turned heel. Okay, like, he was massive, obviously, because there were probably plans to do something a lot more substantive with him and Cena after the heel turn, but obviously, The Rock ended up getting, tabbed very quickly after that to be a part of a Scorsese film moving forward, and because he's going to be a Hawaiian mob boss, it's like, you need to be big, you need to be imposing, but you don't necessarily need to be fed big anymore. So the whole final boss run, yeah, that can just get pushed off for a little while longer. And yeah, like this right here is also a picture that is being credited, Monday the 1st of September, so it's clearly still a big guy. But it's funny how social media went absolutely bonkers on Monday about this. So yeah, calling him the Pebble, probably overstepping a little bit. But the big takeaway about this is, when he was asking about, this is such a departure role. Okay, this is the way that he was even being presented at the time that, they had the announcement that A24 is going to be doing a biopic on Mark Kerr, and The Rock, of all people, is going to be playing him. And it's like, it makes sense from a physicality standpoint, but this might be a little bit out of his comfort zone. And of course, everybody thought, if The Rock's going to break out, there's probably going to be that role right there. And hey, it actually ended up coming true, apparently. Now, this this is, of course, from all of the sycophantic access media and the film festival type, so this could just be a drizzling pile of shit. But as we've seen, wasn't that at, oh no, I'm sorry, that was at the end of 2023. You also had Iron Claw come out, where you had Zac Efron get on all of the gas, apparently all of the gas that The Rock just got rid of, he took 2 years ago, and got fucking huge to be, was he Kevin? I think he was Kevin Von Erich, because yeah, he ended up surviving the film. Spoilers, but if you know anything about the Von Erichs, you probably already know how that story was going to go. Not exactly a fucking, good bedtime story for kids. But seeing that these, darker combat sports-based movies, like even going back, a decade at this point in time, I remember Warrior when it came out, $1 Million Baby. Like, there's money in them there hills if you do a good job. So this is once again, The Rock looking around, just assessing. God damn it, man. For as much as I don't like him, he's got a great agent. He has a lot of good connections, and he put himself in the best position to succeed. And so knowing that he can not really maintain that physique that he has over the past 20 years, when you're in Hollywood, as we all know, it had become about the box office. Right. And you can chase the box office, and the box office can be very loud, and it can become very resounding, and it can push you into a category and into a corner. Right. And also because you take a look at your most recent receipts, and you're even just going back to that Hollywood Reporter article, okay, because you got Batista there. But what is the picture that they decided to choose for The Rock? Did they go with one of his many billion-dollar flicks like Jumanji? Did they go with Fast and the Furious? No. They went with probably his biggest black eye, more so than the Tooth Fairy, more so than any one of those other, sweaty girl, an explosion in the background, skyscraper, faster, whatever the hell else there was, all of those ones that, just look ostensibly the same, your quintessential Rock movies. They went with Black Adam, his failed attempt to overtake the DC universe after Zack Snyder, but before James Gunn. But since then, he was a part of Moana 2 that made $1 billion, but he was a voice actor in that one. Didn't need to be ginormous for that. And by the time that the live action Moana comes around, is he going to have to get back into, the quintessential Hollywood Rock shape? Or because, he's going to have Oscar considerations, I would be shocked if he doesn't get nominated for this. Will he win? I don't know, maybe. I think it would probably be a good thing, for the viewing figures, for the Oscars, to put somebody who is decently charismatic without a full script to do an acceptance speech, so it's highly possible. So yeah, they can fill him out for the live action role, or he'll still be, traditional good Rock shape. So that'll be fine. That'll be passable this time around. Because now he's moving into that more serious actor role. He doesn't want to be put into a category. I just had this burning desire and voice that was saying, what if there is more, and what if I can? Johnson continued. A lot of times it's harder for us, or at least for me, to know what you're capable of when you're being pigeonholed into something. Right, of course. It wasn't that you were succeeding until you stopped succeeding, and now you're trying to find another pivot point. It's almost like how when you were called out about hijacking the main event for WrestleMania 40, and that blew up in your face. It was always the plan to, cuck out Cody and then put him back in. No, we know exactly what we're doing. It's, that whole making John Cena my chosen champion to go after Cody Rhodes, and then I totally disappear after Elimination Chamber. No, that was always the plan. This is why, okay? In so much as people want to, joke about The Rock and his lack of a physique, about he's, half the man he used to be. People have figured it out in the recent years. I seen a couple of years ago when he was losing tens of thousands of social media followers. Yeah, people have kind of figured out something that wrestling fans have kind of known for a while. Yeah, The Rock might be endlessly charismatic. He might be able to come through and drop a couple of catchphrases, spew a few R-rated lines, but most importantly, The Rock is a fucking phony. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Coswell, and I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.